Hi, I'm Steve. You are you. Welcome to Digivice. Today we're talking to Tracy Sheen, who is a digital guide. She has 30 years of experience in digital marketing. Hi, Tracy.
Hey, Steve. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Very well, very well. It's
Good.
been another long week and we're only halfway through.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I feel like the last 2 weeks have been in the last 2 days, really. Is it going slower?
I said to someone the other day, it feels like we're living life on half speed and 10 speed all at the same time because there's these weird kind of time vortexes opening up, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. It's strange.
Hmm.
Getting a lot done though, which is good. I don't. Last week, I think I was really affected by procrastination and trying to get used to working. I work from home most of the time, but getting used to everyone else being here as well.
Yeah, it's and a lot of people are still in panic mode, right? So when we're in panic mode or trying to take on the what's going on, we're not really equipped to be thinking about what can we be working on and what are some practical steps. So I've been fluctuating between I've become addicted to the news cycle again, which I haven't been for 20 years. And,
Yeah.
so now ScoMo gives an update and I'm like, right, got to drop everything and find out what's happening and going from, that end of the spectrum to, wow, I've got 6 months ahead of me that I can get a whole bunch of stuff done that I never thought I'd get done in, 12 months, 18 months, let alone now have a gift of 6 months. So I'm still swinging the pendulum between what's happening to a gift of time.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up, really. But
Mm,
yeah, focusing on that, what we can get done in that time period as well is awesome.
yeah.
Just as long as we get it done. And
Well, that's it. And setting yourself realistic goals, right? Not thinking. So I'm working on a book at the moment and not thinking that I'm going to get the entire book written in a month, but thinking I'll probably get it written in 3 or 4 months instead of being realistic.
yeah, because that's 70,000 words that you're writing.
Yeah, my gut feel says that it'll come out around 70 or 80,000, which probably means I've got to write 140, 150,000 or something to get it edited down. So we'll see. I'll just keep writing until, that final full stop hits the page and I've ticked off all the sections and all the chapters and all the everything. And then I'll walk out into the sunshine like some kind of albino and blink at the sun and print off a ream of paper and hand it off to an editor and hope I never have to see the damn thing again.
Yeah, yeah, or that you do, and it's you signing the book.
Well, that'll be true. I'll be very happy to sign. I have my special pen ready to sign all the copies for when I do the book launch next year.
Awesome, right?
So,
Yeah, and at least you've got that year now, really, because I mean, Amazon's taking a few months to deliver, and it was always quite challenging to get anything from the US anyway, or from China for that matter. Now it's a completely new level. So unless you're getting it published in Australia, which is expensive as all hell.
yeah, interesting though, because actually the publisher that I work with, he has contacts in Australia, so we will actually do all the printing and distribution out of Australia.
Oh wow.
And it actually doesn't work out that much more expensive at all. So I think there's been a bit of a misnomer that you've got to kind of go offshore to get, good pricing. I think it's just one of those ones that if you work cooperatively, so the publisher that I work with, does a lot of small business books. So I guess he's got a good deal with the publisher, with a printer that he can say, I'm basically guaranteeing you, 1,000 books a month or whatever that looks like. So the printer's actually got a bit of scope and a bit of leeway to offer some good pricing. So not so worried about that, but it's just, we can't get together to celebrate a book launch or anything really until we're allowed to gather in groups again. So I've had to rethink the strategy behind that. So I'll release like a Reader's Digest book of the version first, which will be done on ebook. And that'll be the pre-book and that'll be the COVID, 19 edition, because there'll be a lot of strategies and stuff in place in that book that people can use now, and then, you know, it'll flow on to the hard book back end of this year. And we just got to, it's like everything, we've got to play that by ear, right, and see when the best time to hit go on that sucker is. It could be, you know, I hit go for September. It could be that I hit go for February next year. I don't know. It's got to depend on my people and when the market's right and when the community's kind of ready to embrace things again instead of living in this brave new world.
Yeah. Yeah. And timing's always been a thing anyway. I mean, getting the timing right, you haven't really had that opportunity to pick timing the way that we are probably going to be able to now, because there will come a time where we start to see the trend of those getting sick will start to dissipate, and then the government will slowly start to open everything up again. And so then at least we can sort of see a trend to pick a time that's likely to be right. I don't know. I could be wrong. We've never really gone through this before.
Well, that's, as they keep saying, unprecedented times. But it's true, right? None of us in living memory have any kind of recollection of, we're all navigating this one blind. And I think we've got a real opportunity as a community to kind of, what do we want it to look like when we come out the other end? Because right now, if we are going into hibernation like the government kind of wants us to, we can choose the bits that we thought were pretty shitty and not do them when we come out the other end. You know, there's going to be a bunch of businesses that aren't going to survive this, sadly, and we've got the opportunity to kind of go, well, do we want to be the consumerist society that we were before, or do we want to embrace a little bit around recycling and upcycling and, you know, take some values that we're kind of going back to right now? Do we want to bring those forward again? Seems like every man and their dog's embracing gardening and baking right now. So, you know, you got to kind of wonder, is that the stuff that we want to bring into 2021? Do we want to make it, you know, the best of what we had and the best of what we're getting out of this situation and move forward? And I think there's some conversations that we can be having in our own little houses and communities and groups and things right now of, well, what do we want to design? What do we actually want this thing to look like when we stumble out into the sunshine as a group of people in 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, whatever it's got to be time, and start to shake hands with other people again.
And I guess at the moment it can seem really difficult because there's still that initial shock. But, I mean, there is that opportunity there to move this in a way that to see the change that we actually want to see.
No, absolutely. I was reading something the other day. It was a quote by JFK that he said, you know, the Chinese spell crisis with two characters. One is, you know, kind of crisis, and the other is opportunity. So yes, you have to see and acknowledge the danger or the negativity involved in a situation, but you've also got to step back and see the opportunity. So, you know, as business owners, as community leaders, as leaders in our own households, we've got a real opportunity to set a new standard. What do we want?
Yeah.
We can all agree and move forward that, you know, we didn't like certain aspects, so let's not do that again.
Yeah. So with that in mind, one of the things that I personally hate is you've been in digital marketing for 25 years and
30
years. God.
30. I started before it was digital.
Yeah, of course. Wow. I see that it's really easy to jump online and just post all of this stuff about your business and all that sort of thing, but it should really be about creating relationships. Do you think that that's going to expand now in the sense that everyone's just going to jump online and everyone's going to advertise their business the old way of buy my stuff, basically? Or do you think that system is going to go out entirely and people will actually start to market properly because this is a way of cleaning the swamp, And a lot of people that do that won't be able to continue their business because they won't have clients. They won't be able to because the clients who they previously served will be struggling if they continue to not get results with those people. And because there's the economic strain behind that, people are going to be more decisive with who they choose to work with. So a lot of that will go away. What do you think?
I think, look, it's an interesting question. I think there's a couple of things in that. Right now, what I'm seeing is a digital divide opening up. So we have roughly, I think it's about 2.5 million households that don't have any kind of online, capabilities. So what do we do for that section of the community? How do we keep them engaged? How do we protect the vulnerable? Because there is that section of the market. So that's the first kind of thing. We have that divide kind of really starting to open up. With the age group that's being affected with COVID, particularly the over 70s or in the Indigenous communities over 50s, or for those with underlying health conditions and kids with underlying health conditions and things, there's that need to be able to disseminate information to them and help them get online and access good quality information and be able to develop a relationship with brands that they know, like, and trust. So I see there's a great opportunity out there right now. And what I'm seeing again is creating a big divide. People are going one way or the other. They're either going hard with the buy my stuff and just shouting at people right now. And I think my gut feel is partly because they're panicked. They've seen a big drop in their bottom line. They don't know what else to do except what they've always done, which is, basically advertise. Here's a widget. I've got it on sale. You need a widget. I sell a widget. Come in and buy my stuff. They don't know any better, so they're kind of defaulting to that kind of same that they've always done and hoping that it's going to, trigger an influx of clients. It's not going to happen. Right now, the community as a whole, we still don't know what's going on day to day. So we're conserving cash. We're being, far more concerned with discretionary funding and spending right now. So I think as brands, as businesses, as small business owners, as medium business owners, we have a wonderful opportunity to build community. So right now, I get it. I'm a small business owner. I've lost, all bar 2 clients in this thing right now. So, I'm in it with everyone. I'm not just spouting this because I'm sitting on a throne of gold and, rubbing my hands together and waiting for my competition to fall over. But I'm not selling anything right now. Mm-hmm. All I'm doing is offering advice and how can my community get access to good quality information that's going to help them get out of this, because we're better and we're stronger if we band together right now. So what do I know and what can I do that's going to help you, Steve, get through the next 6 months? Well, I know digital marketing. I know how to work remotely, how to get online. I know how to podcast. I know there's a bunch of stuff that I know how to do. You know how to do SEO. You know how to do a bunch of other stuff. All right, how can we swap ideas? How can we open that up to create a community? So what I think is going to happen and what I'm starting to see happen is we're going to build lists of people, and it's a great opportunity to actually work on our database and work on those people that we want to work with at a later date. I think we need to have long memories right now. We need to be looking at those brands who are just trying to sell and they're just trying to rape and pillage the landscape, and we need to remember, because we will come out the other end of this, and we, at that point, we can use our dollars then to go, do you know what? Steve really supported me over the last 6 months in this kind of crisis. He didn't once ask me for a buck. He was online every day offering good quality advice. If I needed something done, he'd put me in touch with someone who could help me out. So am I going to spend my dollar with him, or am I going to go back to a big company, a faceless company that's reporting to the shareholders and just tried to get, my last dollar out of me while I was scratching around? So I see kind of it's starting to, part the seas right now, and I'm seeing those two things happen. So it'll be interesting to see what happens over the coming weeks and months.
I think I saw a article in Forbes yesterday as well, pretty much saying the same thing, that what brands do today is going to be remembered. So they need to be really careful with
I
how.
hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd hate for it to go back to the norm of, all right, well, these people are doing really great work, but this big brand over here has a whole heap of clients. They have a whole heap of clients out the back end that leave as well after 6 months
Exactly
because
right.
they're really annoyed.
Yeah.
But they don't talk about those ones. They just have all of these clients coming in, pouring in the front end.
Yeah. And
Um,
we're seeing some great stuff. I'll give you an example. I'm a Formula One fan, right? I'm a big F1 head. So I was actually in Melbourne when the race got called off. But Mercedes, who, have the arguably the best car on the grid right now and have done for a couple of years, they know the bottom's fallen out of their market right now. People aren't spending money on luxury goods. So they've actually partnered with health and developed a portable ventilator, that they're trialing in hospitals in England that potentially, I was listening to a doctor last night, potentially is going to free up hundreds and hundreds of beds and save thousands and thousands of lives, because it's a little battery operated thing that will catch a patient before they need to be ventilated. So as they're at the point where they're going on that downhill slide into ICU, but before they need to be ventilated. So, there's some wonderful opportunities and some wonderful examples out there right now. Sure, they got a lot of cash behind them and a lot of really smart engineering brains and things like that, but they're pivoting.
yeah,
They're kind of going, right now, our community needs us, and this is what we can do to plug a hole, to fill a gap, to respond to that situation. So, yes, I get it. We're all kind of going, I don't know what's going to happen in the next week, but we should also be looking for, what are the opportunities there? How can we pivot? What do our people need right now that we can be delivering for them?
absolutely. So how do we go about that? How do we, I guess, build that community if we don't already have one? How do we then move them to a database, not in a way that is with,
Is
I guess,
spammy?
at the end of the day, you want to increase your revenue, but you also want to help them. And how do you do that?
So, look, again, great question. I think for me, I can only tell you what I'm doing and and how we've come to have more conversations. I would argue that everybody has a community. Everybody has contacts. If you're a small business owner watching this right now going, I don't have contacts, I'm going to call bullshit on that, because you've probably got an accountant, you've probably got a handful of clients at least, or one or two clients. You've got suppliers that you deal with. You've got, people on your personal Facebook page. That's a community. It's about going to those people now and going, this is who I am. This is what I've been doing. What do you do? And how could we potentially work together? And who do you work with? How can I help you? I think we need to switch our thinking and our mindset a little bit to, right now, we all need to come from a place of service. How can I be of service to you? Steve, how can I help you get through the next 6 months? How can I help your people? I think it's easier if you start with that service mentality, and it's got to come from an authentic place, right? Like, Aussies sniff bullshit a mile out. Like, if I'm coming to you and I'm going, so Steve, I've got this really cool thing that I'd like to do with you, and you've got a database of 5,000 people, so how about you message them, and you're going to see through that a mile away. So it's just about having right now some genuine, authentic conversations. So can you get a few mates on the phone, do a Zoom call, and just, all right, this is what I've been doing. This is the kind of trade or service or whatever I'm in. I'm an accountant. I'm a retailer. I'm a seamstress. I'm a whatever. I'm a baker or whatever. Just go around the group. What's everybody else doing? How are they surviving? What's working? What's not working? And just start to go, well, hey, what if I jump on a video chat with you, Steve, and I talk about how to pivot during times or how to build a database? You know, you're really good with SEO. Maybe you can jump on a video chat with me and chat to my people about how they can be working on building their own SEO on their own database right now. Before you know it, you know, we've provided value to each other's clients, but it's not spammy, it's not salesy, it's not anything, but anybody who resonated with this call might want to jump on and have a look at my Facebook page. Or if I do a video call with you, we did a webinar late last year, you got, you know, some clients or some database leads out of that because you were on a webinar with me and added a ton of value to my clients. So to me, it's just about having some honest conversations with people right now, not expecting you're going to jump to a database of 30,000 in a week. You know, if you pick up one or two people, that's great. That's two more than you had yesterday.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. I did have something that I was going to follow up with that, but it's completely gone from my head, which is, it happens sometimes, unfortunately.
Yeah, the next train will come along in a minute. But the pivoting, I think pivoting comes out of conversations. You know, so you might be doing something really well like SEO, and you do that. Seriously, you are not blowing smoke where the sun don't shine. You are the best SEO person I have come across, and I've been doing this for 30 years. So, you know, you've been doing SEO and all that's fantastic, but we have a conversation. Well, I found out a couple of nights ago that you can build Wix websites.
Yeah.
Didn't know that one. So, you know, now because of that conversation, that was just a natural, you were chatting to me about Wix and the work you were doing with them to help them with their SEO. So now you and I are looking at, well, how can you build my website and help me out? So, you know, there's some slight tacks. It doesn't have to be a complete 180 shift. It might be that you just go, oh, there's a need right now for low-end websites to be developed or to be able to help people build their own website. So I'm not going to charge them $1,500 to build a website. I'm going to charge them $20 to jump on a webinar, and I'm going to teach them how to build their own website. So it's keeping your eyes open for those opportunities and going, hey, I can do that, and I'm actually really good at it. I just don't talk about it a whole lot, but there's a need for it now. So let's see who I can help.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of webinars around Zoom as well.
Oh my God, everyone's a bloody Zoom expert right now. It does my head in. I did, and speaking of that, I did a digital daily tip on Zoom today, but it does my head in because suddenly everybody is a Zoom expert. So I guess that's the other thing that I would caution people is, you know, still work with experts. If you are going to spend some cash and, you know, you do have a need has arisen and you have an opportunity and you have some cash, please do work with experts. Like, don't just find Jono down the street that was a plumber that, you know, suddenly decided that he's done a lynda.com course and can build a WordPress site. Sorry if there is a Jono the plumber that's watching this, but, you know, make sure you still check out their credentials and, you know, they still have a bit of authenticity to them and all of that. I'm not saying that people can't start and learn something new during this time and they may charge a lower rate because they'll just take longer or whatever, but, you know, still make sure you're working with good quality people when you are going to spend some cash right now.
Of course. And accountants are doing this really well as well. They're not necessarily pivoting, but I have seen a lot of, at least my client base, are sending out emails to their client base and explaining what these stimulus packages are all about, because there's not really good explanation from some of the politicians. They're trying
very mixed messages, right?
Mixed messages. Yeah, and I wouldn't want to be in that position. They're doing a great job, but just the accountants are often seen as people who that they're not really tech savvy. They are still bean counters from back in the day, and those who do actually jump on the cloud are really innovative, and it's not really something that's been done a lot. So I've been really impressed that this has just been what they've been doing. They've been trying to help in that way that they can explain these stimulus packages. That's the sort of thinking that people should be trying to implement. What can you help with your skill set, whether it does mean pivoting or whether it does mean, okay, well, I just need to do this a different way.
Yeah. I think we've got to push ourselves right now. So there's been a lot of industries and a lot of businesses that have been able to kind of coax along, and they've had a steady client base and it's been great. And now all of a sudden we've got these red flags and, things are closing and, oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I think we're going to be forced to, and if people haven't started doing it yet, I would urge you to, look at how you can upskill right now. What can you learn that you have been avoiding? So if you've never done email marketing before, get yourself a CRM, learn how to build a database, learn how to capture that information now. If you're writing blogs or doing email marketing, fantastic. Can you record a quick piece to camera and put that out to social media? Force yourself outside your comfort zone. I mean, my God, I got a great head for radio, but I'm doing a lot of video now. So, just force yourself to kind of learn something new. And we are in a real suck it and see kind of environment. You've got to test these things, But if you're an accountant, I would be guaranteed, well, any business really, you're going to have a portion of clients that don't want to read stuff. You're going to have a portion of clients that don't want to watch a video. You're going to have a portion of clients that don't want to listen to something. So you can take that same piece of information. If you're talking about the latest job seeker payments, write a blog about it, but then jump on Canva, learn how to use Canva, turn it into an infographic, put that out on your social media, throw that in your email, open up Zoom, record it, talk to the camera about what it actually means, release that in an email, put it on your website, throw it on your social media, switch the camera off and just talk down your voice memo, release it as an audio file. Take that one piece of information, you can repurpose that 7 or 8 times and you're going to hit, far more of your own database and far more of your own clients, because you're going to talk to them in the way that they want to be spoken to. So, I love audio. I was in radio years back. I started podcasting when it wasn't cool. It was RSS feeds. I'm always going to listen to podcasts, but I'm watching more video now. So, you'll always default to your personal style. So force yourself, if you're a podcast listener, force yourself to throw it through Descript or somehow and get it transcribed and start turning that into a blog. But we're all in a time where we need to learn some of these new skills in order to see what's going to land with our clients.
Yeah. And there's some industries that will have a little bit of pushback as well. Like plumbers, for example, will say, well, I'm a very physical trade. We need to go somewhere physically and do work there. But I heard this thing, I'm not sure where, that there was a plumber who was doing videos around simple things.
Right. Here's how you change a washer.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I mean, obviously, if there's something burst and there's water just being pumped out into your bathroom that's going into your bedroom, they're going to need to call you out. But those sorts of things.
And even that would make a great video, right? Like,
exactly,
if someone suddenly had if a plumber suddenly came across or managed to burst a pipe in a backyard or something, what a great video to do. Hey, if this happens, call me. If it's a washer, watch the next video. So I think there's some great opportunities there, like you said, and it's forcing ourselves to really learn and embrace stuff that we didn't think we'd ever have to.
It's sort of a push to push everyone else online, basically. Yeah.
Honestly, my gut feel says when this is all said and done, we'll move into a hybrid environment. I think we'll find a number of businesses that are just going to go, do you know what? Actually, probably don't need a full-time office like I thought I did. We can do with getting the staff together physically once or twice a week, and the rest of the time they can work from home. It's just as productive. It's just as effective. And I think we're going to, so I really think we're going to move more to that. I think there's going to be a greater emphasis and understanding in the quality of online delivery. I think it's going to force people like me that do a lot of speaking and other speakers and presenters to lift our game in terms of, what we put out in terms of a webinar and things like that, and to create that additional engagement. But I think I'm excited for kind of what the next 6 or 12 months looks like, because I think it's going to create a lot of new tech and a lot of stuff that's going to come out that's going to solve some problems that we're seeing right now.
Yeah. And that's how change happens.
Absolutely.
Change is always happening, but that's how a lot of progress is made.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
So what are you doing right now? You're doing these things. So you've got the wonderful James on tomorrow chatting about sales.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. You're going to have fun with him. So what other stuff are you doing to connect with and build your community right now?
SharePoint. So most people have Office 365 or Google. And not a lot of people realize that Office 365 comes with SharePoint. And that is basically a database up in the cloud that you can store all of your documents in there. Your clients can upload their documents into there as well. You can build little intranets in there. That's pretty much
secure. It's fantastic. Ticks all the boxes.
Yeah. What are you doing?
What am I doing? Man, I'm doing so much. I have my little, I'm still quite a visual person. So I am working on a bunch of frameworks and things right now. So I start by kind of, the 3 levels of thinking. Have you heard of the eagle, the eagle eye thinking, the fish eye thinking, and the insect eye thinking? So I'm kind of spending my time splitting across those. So if you think insect eye, that's when you're down in the grunt work and you're doing you're just responding to emails and you're jumping on that next call and you're just kind of, churning through the work without really kind of pausing for a breath. If you come up the next bit, that's kind of your fisheye. That's where you kind of look at what's going on for the next day or the next week and kind of, all right, I've got a bit of a break there. I've got, Zoom calls here, whatever that is. And then eagle eyes when you kind of hover right above everything. And it's your big picture thinking. So it's climbing to the very toppest of trees and looking out and what do I want this to look like in 12 months? Where do I want my business to be at the end of all of this? Do I still want to be doing what I was doing when I came into this, or do I want to use it as an opportunity to jettison some stuff that I wasn't enjoying and build some stuff that, I want to move forward to? So I'm kind of spending my time hovering between the 3 right now, and I'm getting ready to kill a lot of stuff out of my business that, I wasn't necessarily enjoying, and using the opportunity to start building some products and some services and things that fit where people are in the market right now, and still look for some niches that have some cash. So I do a lot of work with, SME personally. They're all my small business people, but who has those clients that has cash?
Yeah.
It might be local government. It might be chambers of commerce. It might be industry associations that are losing their membership base because they can't get together face to face. Well, how can I go to them with a body of work and go, all right, here's a way to bring everybody together and still get them through where they need to go. So I'm trying to I'm looking at the other opportunities and where I can give away a mountain of value to the people who mean the most and still have some cash coming in and have a roof over my head in 12 months' time. So interesting times.
Yeah. And I think that's what people that they forget or they don't understand is money doesn't disappear. It goes somewhere. And some people might be holding on to a lot of money at the moment, but there are still those essential services that, how much money are we sending to Woolworths with all of the things that we're buying there? That money is then going to go somewhere. It's just a matter of following the money and adapting to an offer to those people who
and that could be the pivot, right? Who is it? I think you and I have had this conversation before. Who has your clients before and after you that aren't in competition with you?
Yeah.
I'll say it again. Who has your clients before or after you that are not in competition with you? They are great partnership opportunities. They're the people that you want to be picking up the phone to right now and going, let's have a chat. You know, how do we come out of this thing better and stronger together? And stop the divide and conquer stuff. You know, it's time that we all got together and stopped seeing each other as competition as small business owners. I don't care if there's 3 accountants in the, you know, the little local area. If you have a conversation with them, you're probably going to find one of them specializes in tax, one of them specializes in SMSF, and one of them specializes in something else. They're not really in competition. They probably hate the other aspects, but they've never, you know, thought to sit around a board table and go, how do we all get out of this? You know, so I'm seeing it as the opportunity to, what money you've got, spend it local, you know, support other small business owners. I'm getting my fruit and veg delivered from a local fruit and veg guy. You know, I've got my meat getting delivered by a paddock to plate farmer that's based in the area. You know, the only time I go to Woolies or Coles is for the bigger kind of stuff that you can't get locally. So think, you know, start to be a bit kind of more thoughtful with where you're spending your cash, and how is this $5 for milk, because I drink lactose-free milk, so it's always more expensive than anyone else's. How's my $5 for my carton of milk going to affect, you know, the Spar at Mackenzie Row or whatever it's called versus giving it to Woolies?
Yeah.
Probably significantly. So, you know, let's all be a little bit more considerate with where those dollars are going right now and help out our own communities.
Awesome.
Sorry, I got in a bit of a soapbox there. It's a bit personal to me.
No, that's great. Yeah, I mean that's the whole point, the authenticity, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Tracy.
So just be of service right now. You know, don't try and blatantly sell, and you know, the money will come back. The money will come back.
Of course. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. See ya.
Yeah.